welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be telling you how to write a perfect A+ scoring persuasive writing piece. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe down below, and let's get started. These are some general tips to write a persuasive piece, which can come in handy for any kind of school assignments, entrance exams, or any other tests like naplan. Persuasive writing is really difficult for some students to grasp, and it mostly requires you to follow some sort of specific structure. These next few steps will help you perfect your persuasive writing and help you write a stellar writing piece. So the first step is, of course, your pre-writing period or your planning period. This step is absolutely necessary to write an excellent persuasive writing piece, as it lets you jot down your ideas beforehand, and this will help you know exactly what you're writing, so you don't have to stop and think about it while you're actually in the middle of writing. This way you also wouldn't forget what you're trying to convey or what your arguments are, since you've already written it down before. Many students tend to skip this part, but in the end it affects their overall performance. So what you want to do for your plan is pretty simple. You want to write down whether you're for or you're against, and then jot down as many ideas as you can for both sides. Now, one really great tip that you can use and that can really improve your writing is to actually use the same types of arguments each time. Your three arguments should always be different from each other, and the best way to ensure this is to have one individual's argument, one social argument, and one financial or environmental argument. What this means is that you can have one argument related to people and individuals. So this could be health related arguments, or maybe one about accessibility. The other argument should be related to community and society and larger groups of people. So these could be like safety in the community or more jobs for people, stuff like that. And the last argument should usually be either financially related or environmentally related. So this could be something about improving the economy or helping the environment, something like that. Now, the last thing that you need for your plan is to choose an argument and come up with a rebuttal for that. But you have to make sure that your rebuttal argument is the last one. The next step is to write an excellent introduction. The introduction is probably the most important paragraph. This is when the reader decides if they actually find your writing interesting and want to continue paying attention, or if they just don't care and if they're bored. You must use the intro to hook in your reader. The best way of doing that is following a structure that is straightforward and concise. A basic intro should have around 4 to 5 sentences. The first sentence should be your contention. So this is when you basically just state what side of the argument on, and you want to directly answer the question in the prompt. So like a clear and concise statement. The next 3 sentences should simply be each one of your arguments, but you do want to make sure that you're not sounding repetitive. And an extra sentence that you could add is one at the very beginning, so some sort of like context. So this is where you give some sort of background information. This could really help improve the quality of your writing and hook the reader in. If you follow this format, you'll have an excellent introduction for your writing. Now we have our 3 body paragraphs. The easiest way to really explain this is to use teal. If you don't know what that is, it's basically just a way of structuring your body paragraphs. So it's an acronym that stands for topic sentence, explanation, example, and linking sentence. So a typical body paragraph should be around 4 to 6 sentences-ish, depending on your time and how much you're able to actually put in. The first sentence should be a topic sentence, which is basically just a straightforward statement that says what your argument is. The next 1 to 2 sentences should be your explanation, where you talk about your argument in greater detail. Then you want to have 1 to 2 sentences for your example. This is when you build on your argument by talking about something specific and then going into detail about how that supports your argument. The last sentence should be your linking sentence, and this is where you basically just link your argument back to your main contention. Using this structure, you should be able to write a high scoring body paragraph. The only thing that you don't want to forget is a rebuttal. This should usually be at the start of the 3rd body paragraph, and it should just be a brief 1 to 2 sentence explanation of an argument from the other side. If you're for the argument, you want to have 1 to 2 sentences about an argument from the against side. Then after that, you want to use teal to back up your own side with an even stronger argument, and that's how you get a really good high scoring body paragraph. The last step is to write a great conclusion. This should be about 2 to 3 sentences and just wrap up your writing in an engaging way. The first sentence should just restate your contention and give a summary of your position in a straightforward manner. The second sentence should just be all 3 of your arguments listed together to summarize your main points. And the last sentence is optional, but it would really improve your piece if you can finish off with some sort of sentence that leaves the reader impressed. This is the sort of structure that you want to use if you want to have a stellar conclusion and writing piece. Apart from this basic structure, there are a couple things that you want to keep in mind for persuasive writing. The first thing you want to make sure is that you're not being informal. At higher levels of persuasive writing, you want to be able to write in a professional manner that sounds more formal in order to get high scores. Another tip is to always make sure you're using third person. If you start writing in first person, it sounds a bit more informal for persuasive writing, and then it's just better to avoid writing in first person. And the last thing is to make your writing as straightforward as possible. You want to be able to get your arguments across and let the reader actually know without actually confusing them. You obviously want to add things like lots of detail and great vocabulary, but you don't want to overdo it, because then it starts to become sloppy and confusing, which then affects your overall quality of your writing piece. Keeping it straightforward helps it sound better and keeps it flowing. In conclusion, persuasive writing can be difficult for some students to grasp, but the best way to write an excellent piece is to use the same structure over and over again and constantly improve in writing in that style. This way you'd be able to write an amazing writing piece with everything the audience would be looking for. So if you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below, and I'll see you in the next one.